Hello and welcome, bookworms. Welcome to this week's episode of The Contented Narrative. We're looking at The Saltwater Curse by Avina St. Graves. Now, this... I will just preface this because I'm not really a smut person. And I don't tend to... You know how I feel about, like, excessive sex scenes in books. And even in TV shows and films, and I feel like if it's there for the plot, if, there's a little, and I'm like, okay, cool, but I'm not the kind of person that's reading something to just read basically porn. And there's parts of this that do verge over into the pornographic. And I will just say it is between a kraken and a human woman. So a male kraken and a human woman, so just bear that in mind. Anyway, just thought I'd sort of give you that little warning, and I'm not going to be talking too much about the sexual aspect of it. I'll be talking more about the plot. So you've got Kirsty Gallagher, and basically it's not a spoiler, but she starts off with a very abusive like mob boyfriend, and he's one of those where it's like, she was in love and everything seemed fine, and then he slowly became the monster that he was, and then one night she just snaps and kills him with a knife and then goes on the run. And so she's then trying to like hide as much as possible, try and make sure that, she doesn't get found, they don't catch up to her. And she's basically like, she's got a very inherent distrust of men now, which is completely understandable. And then you've got Ordus, who is king of the Krakens, but he's part human, part Kraken, because he's family at some point commingled. And his whole area is cursed, and he's been told the only way to break the curse is to find his soulmate and basically marry her, but she has to be willing. So it's not a I'm gonna force you kind of situation, it's a I'll marry you, but she has to be completely willing to marry him and love him forever. There can't be any if, buts, or maybes. And you see where this is going. So he is trying to find his mate, and he thinks it may be a kraken, and then he sees her on the beach and realizes that, oh, my mate's a human. And so then he tries to basically look after her and protect her, knowing nothing about humans. And then there's also like a weird shark, dog, animal, octopus type thing, which is quite cute. But like overall, do you know what? It wasn't a bad book. It was readable and I enjoyed it, and it is what it is. At times I did feel myself, and I'm not a prudish person, but at times I felt myself blush and go, "Oh, okay. All right, fine." But honestly, the way that the character is, the way that Ordis kind of deals with Kirsty, and he's like, no, I'm going to protect you, but then doesn't know how to care for a human being, so doesn't know that she needs water, doesn't, and then they kind of like, the way the relationship builds, the way they get, it is really, really sweet. And I will say, when you find out sort of like the ending and what happens to the characters and how they, defeat the curse and what the curse is and everything like that, I was actually quite happy with that. I was just like, okay, that feels quite natural. I am quite happy with how that feels. But I will say some of you might be a little bit annoyed by sort of like what they're throwing at you and how the curse works. But honestly, do you know what? It was an alright book. The plot was alright. The characters were pretty decent. But there was a lot of intimacy and intimate thoughts, shall we say, between the Kraken and the human lady. And a lot of sort of like pulsing loins and whatnot. So I will say, if you are not a fan of any kind of sort of like sex scenes in books or anything, stay away from this one. If you're not about the whole different species getting together, again, not for you. But do you know what? It is what it is. And will I read it again? I don't know, but I would say give it a go, guys. But you have been warned. But let me know below in the comments if you did enjoy it. And obviously, thank you so much for your continued support. I know I say this every week, but it means the world to me, and I wouldn't keep doing this if it wasn't for the support that you guys were giving me. So thank you for continuously watching my videos. And remember to always keep it contento.